Hello and welcome to our next instalment of the Volumise online training resource. It's really great that you're engaging with this. It's a really exciting topic this time. Sex and relationships can fill us with a little bit of dread. I am sure there probably are some of us that have got the Encounter Sex and Sexuality resources in the box at the back of the cupboard, and we know that we really should be using it, but we haven't got around to it yet. I mean, I know that's not you, but just in case, the aim of this resource this time is not to give you more material to work through with your groups, but actually to get to the heart of what sometimes stops us from using these excellent resources, and that's our own confidence and lack of feeling equipped. So really this time our heart for this Volumise session is not to give you more to do, but to help you think more around these topics and to give you more sort of personal skills around talking with the girls in your group at whatever age or stage they're at. So I want to really encourage you as you listen to this little bit of online training, just to, in your mind, do that age-appropriate, stage-appropriate thinking. You might be working with girls under the age of 11, you might be working with girls over the age of 14, so it's going to look different, isn't it, what you do? But we hope that just listening to some of the stuff that I share and looking at the great Encounter resources we already have on sex and sexuality, that you'll feel more equipped and more confident to talk with young women in your groups about this very important topic. So let's get stuck in to engage then. It's really, really important that we engage the girls that we work with on a weekly basis with this topic, to let them know that their questions are worth asking, to let them know that they're okay, that they're going to be okay, that all the thoughts they have in their mind, they can air those and have other people speak into their life. And we want to give them the confidence to see that the Bible has so much to say about the things that they're going through, about relationships, about the fear of being under pressure, about knowing whether they are good enough or lovely enough. Romance Academy a little while ago did some research, and they discovered that 82% of girls aged 11 to 18 feel that the adults in their life don't realise how much pressure they are under to be sexually active. And I wonder if that's the same for us too. The girls that we know week in, week out, we probably know that they're not particularly engaging in high-risk sexual activity. Of course, we might not know that. They might not be telling us. But we can sometimes look at groups of girls and think, well, it doesn't really affect them because they don't look like they're struggling with that. But of course, so much pressure that young people feel under is internalised. And so what we want to do at the beginning of any session where we talk about sex and relationships is to help the girls tell us what it's like for them to live in a culture that puts way more pressure on them to be sexually active than in any other generation. And we can do that in a whole host of ways, can't we? You could just sit down with girls and if they're a slightly older group, 14 plus, you can ask them to tell you, what is it like that when you walk out of the church building, there's that billboard poster across the road with a semi-naked body? What impact do you think that has on you and your friends? If it's girls a little bit younger, you might want them to just think about the films or the songs that they listen to about relationships. You probably would use the word relationships more with younger girls. But it's important that you get into that role of listening to them. A, because it equips us, doesn't it, to really hear where our girls are coming from. And B, because actually what it does is it values girls' voices. It says to them, you're noticing stuff about culture that you're unsure about. And we want to help you tap into that more so that you can then go and make different choices. We want girls to trust their instincts. And so one thing that you could do is get loads of magazines on the floor and get the girls to kind of tear out and circle and rip out any messages or images that they think put pressure on girls their age to be having sex. And what that does is it reveals something called their sexual script. We all have a sexual script, and a sexual script basically is all that kind of stuff inside us, our beliefs, our religious beliefs, our experiences, what we've seen modelled to us, all that kind of stuff mushed together, and it informs us and it helps us make choices. We're unaware that we have it really, but I might do something in a certain way because of what I've been through, how I read scripture, all that kind of stuff. And so what we want the girls to do is kind of come up with, what are the messages, what is the script in culture around sex? And I'd advise you to do that for yourself as well. I think sometimes what stops us talking with young people about sex is maybe a belief within us that somehow if we talk about sex, it'll encourage them to do it. the evidence is stacked against that. Opening our mouths and talking about sex is actually a protective force. It actually helps girls say no to sexual activity. So that might be a fear that we have. It might be that no one ever talked to us about sex when we were their age, so we have no idea how you do it. So why don't you have a little chat with your leaders, get the magazines out just as a team, look at the messages, because what will happen is you will begin to get a fire inside you that says, actually, if this is what girls are learning about sex, if they're being taught that sex is just what your bodies do, that sex is for strangers, like in that Usher song, that Robin Thicke's song, Blurred Lines, talking about violence, means that some of our girls might think it's acceptable for boys to hit girls and vice versa. Actually, if that's what they're learning, I want to say something about that. So tap into your sexual script, what you believe, find out what the girls believe, and use that as your starting point for a discussion about sex and relationships.